Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Thanks for dropping by my weekly workshop, coming to you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada. For those new arrivals to our community, the weekly workshop features a compilation of my content from the last 7 days, including, but not limited to, inspiration for would-be side hustlers and full-time giggers, tool and gear reviews, and finding financial and lifestyle freedom through entrepreneurship. And also, if you prefer your content of the video variety, you can find it all at toolmantim.co. Thanks for taking the time to have a listen, and with that, let's dive into this week's edition of the Weekly Workshop. Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we build business, create community, find freedom, and share success. It's another marvelous Monday morning, which means it's time for another money-making minute. And this week I've got something totally brand new. You guys know that I love community input, and I'm going to start a new monthly series, if I can get input from you guys, called a Community Member Review. And you guys know that I put together a giveaway last month of a bunch of different grilling accessories, and Ryan Collett was the guy who ended up winning the grand prize 5-piece grilling pack. And he's been telling me he'd really like to get into doing some content creation down the road. And I said, hey, you know what I would love? I've been wanting to get community members involved to do their own reviews that I could post up here and share with you. So before we dive in, if anybody wants to do that, just go ahead and film a review of any tool. If it's a Toolman Tim product, seal of approval product, great. If it isn't, whatever you love. Just 3 minutes or less, in the widescreen format, so sideways, landscaping, and then message me through social or PM me, whatever. Anyway, you can email me at therealtimcook@gmail.com. Let me know you've got something, and then I'll give you the information on how to submit it. So just take the initiative, go ahead, let me know you've got it, and we will put this together because I love getting stuff from you guys. And Ryan is a stand-up kind of dude. He's just awesome. And if you want to know more about who he is, there's links in the description below. Check out his Collett Home Services. The guy is a machine. He works full-time. He runs a handyman business. He's picked up some properties, and I really respect his opinion. So he ended up picking up the barbecue brush, the twisted metal one that I really, really like. That was his favorite out of the bunch, and he sent me a quick review on his thoughts of it. So let's check it out right after this.
Hey Tim, as promised, it's Ryan Collett reviewing one of the items I won on your drawing. This is the grill brush, super heavy duty, nice molded kind of a polymer handle. The brush itself is not abrasive to your hand at all, but I think it's going to do a really good job. I have been using one of the wood grill scrapers, and it just never really cleaned to my satisfaction. But as you can see, once you start in on this guy, it really knocks the crud off really good. So super happy with this thing. Gets down between the grates pretty good. And if it doesn't get as good as you'd like, get in there and get that stuff off. This is a really great brush. Super impressed. Thanks a bunch, Tim. I appreciate it. Bye for now.
All right, so I enjoyed that, guys. Thanks. I love community submissions. I want to make this a once-a-month money-making minute morning segment. So if you guys have anything, message me. Say, hey, I want to do this. But if you tell me you want to do it, do it. What I'd really like is for you to just put together a 1 to 3 minute, somewhere in the 3 minute landscape video of something you like, just talking about the tool you like. Doesn't matter if you're a content creator or not. All the better if you're not. But what I want to do is get you out there and get you shared, kind of like a community member spotlight where you talk about your favorite tool. So like I said, make sure you check out Ryan's social media links in the description below. Real cool dude. Always appreciate him. He's been here since the beginning, back when the only people watching were my wife, my mom, and my two daughters, or my twin daughters who were at home at the time. That was it. And yeah, so this is what I want to do, guys. I want to get this out there. I want to end up just so we can all kind of interact and maybe meet up with other people on social media, get to see faces behind the names of the people that are out there, and just share this stuff, because we all love tools. We all love to talk about tools, and I love getting the community involved, because that's what I'm here for. That's my favorite part. And if you want to know more about that and you're new here, Stop by Sunday evenings, almost every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. We have Talkin' Tools live stream where I do year later reviews, and we just shoot the shit and interact with one another as a community, which is probably my favorite part. All right, guys, that's it for me this week. Thanks for dropping by the workshop. You know, I always appreciate you coming by and hanging out with me. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week. Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we build business, create community, find freedom, and share success. It's Tuesday, which means it's time for another installment of Toolbox Tuesday, the series where I review products that I love, things that I use on a regular basis. And this week I've got something that I have had kicking around in my junk drawer for years. This isn't the original tube I bought, but it sure looks like it might be. But this week I'm going to extol you on the virtues of shoe goo. All right, guys, real quick before we dive into the review, if you're new here and you want to know more about who I am and our community, go by toolmantim.co. That's toolmantim.co to find out everything there is to know about me, my social media links. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, grab the link in the description below. It's toolman__Tim. Give me a follow. You'll see some previews of upcoming products that I'm going to do reviews on, projects I'm working on in my handyman business, and just stuff in my day-to-day life. So give me a follow down there and give me a DM or a shout out to let me know that you did. All right, guys. So shoe goo, like I said, is one of those products that pays for itself on its first use. And there's enough in one of these tubes to fix a good 8 or 10 shoes for sure. Once people in your family know that you have this, they all seem to come to you because I like to brag about these products. But I fixed 2 pairs of tennis shoes for my sister-in-law. I fixed 2 pairs of fancy boots for my daughter, a couple of pairs of runners for my kids, and I've even attempted, somewhat successfully, to fix an air hole leak in my inflatable hot tub, and it worked pretty good. If I'd let it set up just a little longer, I think I'd have been real successful. But this is one of those things that if you haven't run out and picked one up, it's honestly incredible. You got to have it. And like I said, you don't use a ton of it. You end up buying it, use it once, you throw it in your junk drawer, and it sits there for months or years on end. And it just stays good forever. It's got a 4.5 star rating out of 800 reviews on Amazon. And this is one of those products that I found way back years and years ago when I worked at Home Hardware, when my wife and I really didn't have more than a couple of pennies to pinch together. I had a pair of work boots that I needed to keep going because I really couldn't afford to buy myself a new pair of boots. So the guy said, go up in the automotive section and pick up some shoe goo. I'm not really sure what shoe goo was doing up in the automotive section, but that's where it was. And this shit really, really worked. I used it. I got a couple more years out of the boots. I was happy. It cost me, these tubes cost like 12 to 15 bucks in Canada, unless you see them in a discount bin or on sale, that sort of thing, but a little bit cheaper in the States. I've only ever used the clear stuff. The clear stuff works perfectly. They also have a black one out there, and I just seen recently they have a leather version as well. So I think it's kind of, I don't know if it has any extra additives or not. It just has that leather brown color. But I've used the clear, and honestly for footwear, anything that you're beating up, scuffing up, this stuff goes in there and it just disappears. So what's this stuff made out of? Well, it's basically a rubber cement with a degreaser and solvent and a synthetic rubber added. Cricket players use it on the end of their bats. Skateboarders use it to fix up their skating shoes and to reinforce them before they end up, tearing them to pieces. Remote control airplane hobbyists use it to weatherproof and waterproof electronics and that sort of thing. How do you apply it? Well, basically, it's simple. So say you got a shoe where the sole's starting to come off. You pull the sole back, you give it a good little squirt of that stuff in there. Kind of stinks, but it's not too bad. Squish it back into place. And the key is to add mechanical support for, say, overnight or 24 hours if you can handle it. So what I usually do is if it's a sole, I'll end up putting the stuff in there, and then I'll use one of those Irwin quick clamps to clamp it down if I can, or a few heavy books on top of the shoe. Whatever it is, try to clamp it in a way you're not going to deform the shoe. But if you can do that, that stuff is golden. When you're done, your shoe's as good as new, and if it's going to tear, it's going to tear somewhere else, because I've never had the shoe goo tear around that seam once it's been sealed. So I did a little digging like I always do when I do these reviews. I go on Amazon, read other people's thoughts about it. I go to the manufacturer's website and read and see what they have to say about the product. And one of the funny things I seen on there was it said that it works on rubber, cement, and glass. And I mean, I guess if you're Cinderella and you have glass shoes, that would work. But if you have cement shoes, I think we got bigger problems than needing to fix a tear in them. But, anyway, it's good for all that. So if you want to use it for something outside of footwear, go for it. But like I said, this is the type of product that's kicked around in my junk drawer for years. I love it. This is probably the third tube I've had in my married life. We've been married over 15 years now. And it lasts forever. I mean, look at this. I lost the cap, didn't even realize I did. The top came out a little bit, squirted out, dried off, and it's still completely pliable inside the tube. So this is one of those products that's just so easy for me to recommend because I've used it for years. It's saved me money. It's one of those things, if you invest a little bit of money in it, it's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. So, hope you guys like learning a little bit about shoe goo. If you've never heard of it before, most old men like me have, but if you happen to be one of the strange ones out there that haven't, give it a shot. It's worth it. Next time you get, people, we just don't like to fix things anymore. But a lot of times with footwear, they haven't worn out. They just started tearing. So try that. Give it a shot. All right, guys, that's it for me. Like I said, if you're new and you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Stick around. Introduce yourself in the comments below. Let us know who you are. Interact with the community. Share your knowledge. That's what I'm here for. I love to learn from you guys as much as I love to teach everyone else. So that's it for me this week, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me at the workshop. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week. Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we build business, create community, find freedom, and share success. It's Wednesday, which means it's time for another Tool Time gear review. And I've got a see it to believe it kind of review this week, so I thought I'd start with the finished product, show you exactly what this GENTENT generator cover looks like. Then we'll go into some footage of me putting it together. I'll share with you the pros and the cons of it, what I love about it, a couple of things that might be able to be improved, and whether it's worth the big investment that you have to take. All right, guys, real quick before we dive into this week's review, if you're new here, just checking out the channel and you want to know more about who I am, run by toolmantim.co. That's toolmantim.co to find out everything there is to know about who I am. All my social media links there, links to the weekly podcast. And if you're interested in following me in an audio-only format, I take all my videos every week, turn them into an audio compilation called The Weekly Workshop. You can subscribe to it through all the normal podcast catchers, so check that out. All right, guys, so this week, like you know, a generator is a big investment. It's something that, everybody who's into emergency preparedness wants to have, and you want to have something that's going to work for you. But you also want to have to take care of that, and there's lots of ways to do that. You can build insulated sheds, you can build generator sheds, you could even build a kind of a lean-to, pour it off the side of your house as long as it's far enough away. There's all kinds of options for that. But for me, in my backyard, there's not a ton of space. And I thought this here, when I was told about it by a community member in the YouTube comments, they said, hey, why don't you check out a GENTENT? Have you ever seen one? You ever done a review on one? Obviously, I hadn't. And so I started digging into them. And I thought, you know what? This might be really, really cool. I like it. It's basically a weatherproof tent that goes on top of your generator. It stays on there, it clamps onto the sides. I'm going to show you some footage afterwards of how to assemble it and put it on and what it looks like and that sort of thing. But it basically sits up on the top. You can take it down when it's not in use. The only thing you leave on your generator are the 4 clamps around the outside. And it protects it from wind, rain, snow, but still allows it to have tons of oxygen. So you guys know when I'm doing these reviews, I love to research the products the best I can, go back on the manufacturer's website. Well, the GENTENT, they're very proud of their products. Number one, they're not cheap. So you'll see that. This guy was $242 Canadian, quite a bit less American. I think they're around $160. But they're independently verified. This company has taken all of their claims that they make, and their claims are that are good for up to 70 mile an hour winds, 18 inches of snow, the material will not burn, and it's guaranteed that your generator will get all of the oxygen that it needs to run properly. So they sent all of those claims off to an independent lab, had them all tested out, and they all come back to meet or exceed what their claims were. Plus, on their website, which was really cool, they had a bunch of real life footage of just community users, people who've bought this product, using it in hurricanes, snowstorms, that sort of thing. And you know what? It looks like it really does work. Now, I'm not going to know until I have to pull my generator out, probably in the middle of winter, because that tends to be when we have it. But I wanted to tell you guys about this cool product. I wanted to unbox it, show you what it comes with, do an assembly for you so that you can see if maybe this is something that you're interested in. Some of the other really cool features we'll show you as we put it together, but it has a nice flap that goes down and protects all of your electrical connections, which is nice. It has a refueling door on the top, which is really good. And you can pick it up and move the generator around with the tent installed. So let's open this guy up. We'll get my knife out here. Hopefully it doesn't rattle too much on you. And we will see what comes in the box. So as far as a neat product, I mean, yeah, a feller could make something a lot cheaper than this. But what I like about this is it's temporary and permanent at the same time. So you end up having a product that all that is permanent on your generator is those 4 clamps. Everything else is something that you can take off and store away. They even, for an extra charge of course, sell a carrying bag for this thing. So that's cool too. Well, let's see if we can get it out of here without ripping the box, eh? So there's really not a whole lot to it. There we are. We'll leave the empty box right there so you guys can see that. 4 very flexible tent poles. This is the Storm Bracer GENTENT assembly right here. Not a whole lot to it. This is the cap piece that goes on the top. Or nope, that is the electrical panel sleeve. This is how this guy opens up, like this. It has a little built-in blow-through kind of vent at the top to help release the pressure so that it doesn't lift it up and carry it off like Dorothy going to Kansas. And here is the hardware pack. 4 corners. GENTENT thanks you. Owner's manual that comes with it. And then you get these 4 spacer type clamps that go on the 4 poles all the way around. And the rest, 4 more clamps there and a little bit of hardware. So the company sells a couple other accessories as well. One of them is a pretty cool outdoor storage kit. So it basically is a nylon style skirting and tent that comes down the rest of it. So if you're in a really tight spot where you do not have an outdoor shed or storage area, then you can grab that and you can keep it stored outdoors year round. I don't love the idea. I hate the idea of the dampness and stuff coming up from the ground, but say you got to store it under a carport on a cement ground, that would be really, really handy. Like I mentioned, you can also get a carrying kit for this thing, I guess, if that's what you're into. But honestly, for me, I just was looking to get one of these to give it a go and test it out and see if this is going to work. Because my biggest concern last year, earlier this year, in that late March blizzard we had with that heavy wet snow, I had my generator out there running. It works great, but I hate the idea of snow and runoff getting down in all the electronics. So we'll give this a shot. Hang in there. I'm going to switch out to the yard and we're going to give it a quick assembly and I'll show you how it works. Okay, so I wanted to show you a couple of up close things here. These are the 4 frame clamps, and depending on how wide your generator frame is, you'll set the different pins. There's 4 different pin depths here. So I measured the width of my generator right there. So across from pole to pole on the actual frame was 26 inches. So then you go into the manual, you find the chart, and it tells you which hole to use. And in this case, we use number 4. Then the next thing you do is you put a carriage bolt through this side here, and then loosely put on that knob. That rubber sleeve was in there. We take that out, and then we're going to go over to the generator. Okay, so we're down here on the ground. We've got all 4 of our clamps, like I showed you, adjusted properly. Now there's 2 ways to measure. You start from the top, measure down 9 inches, and if the clamps aren't free, you measure down as close as you can, about a ½ inch below the electrical panel. In this case, or the electrical connections. In this case, it's going to be more like 1.5 inches, but that's as close as I can get. So first thing we do is we slide these rubber sleeves on the corners like this, with the mouth facing out 45 degrees from the frame. Secondly, we take this guy right here, push him onto the frame, slide him up as high as we can get him to 45 degrees roughly. Don't want the handle to hit it, so we'll get it right there and we'll tighten him down. And we're going to go around and we're going to repeat that process on all 4 handles. Okay, And this is number 3 here. So they do make, if yours doesn't fit, they make a screw-on adapter. Whoops, that one's upside down, that you can put on as well for spots where there isn't enough room to get that rubber clamp in place. Okay, so the clamps are all in, and I folded them in to show you what it looks like when they're folded in for storage, so they're not sticking out and, you know, going to be able to be broke off. And I thought, I'm not going to show you the first time I assembled everything. I'm going to show you the second time. This would be a more real-world situation. Once you've gone through and put it all together once, now you have everything in place, and this is what it'll be like trying to put it together, except picture dark skies, heavy winds, rain or snow, that sort of thing. But I wanted to show you how long it actually takes to assemble and have it on there and have your generator weatherproof. I would suggest doing this in the garage. There's lots of room for it if you have that kind of room, and then wheeling it outside because, as you can see, once it's all assembled, no problem. Now I'm going around here. I already got the 4 clamps slid out into place and then tightened down with little wing nuts. And then I found the easiest way from there is to go around and put all 4 tent pegs in the tent holes, or the little peg holes there. Now at the top, there's a 4-way receiver, kind of like when you're putting a tent together. You just slide each pole into that, and you'll see they're tight, but it doesn't take any time at all to do. And you work your way around, get all 4 in, you make that dome shape, and then all that's left is to unroll the cover, and you'll see just like that, it's all kind of assembled. It has rigid sides. You throw it up and over, try not to let the wind grab it, and then there's 4 elastic bands that you pull down around all 4 sides, and they literally just hook around the bottom of those brackets. The brackets have that little knob at the end that hold them into place, and that is that. It took me 1 minute and 43 seconds to put this together, and it was only the second time I did it. So there you go. Then you pull it down tight around the edges. You got that little sleeve there, and you're done. So one other little part of the assembly process that I didn't show in the video, and I thought I better show you this, is the electrical protection cover flap. So it just fits in there, and then the entire thing runs along just up underneath that folded seam. There's a long strip of Velcro, a very sturdy, seems like it should hold on in the case of heavy winds. So you just lift up that flap, pull this tight, you'll see this all the way around, and then you just get it up inside and press the Velcro in place all the way around. And then that leaves a lip for the rain to run over and not get into your electronics, but it's still easily accessible. You can just lift it up and get it out of the way. And one other feature that isn't abundantly clear right away is this really cool fueling door. So when you have it all together, you might not notice it, but that lifts up completely so that you can reach in and fill it up with the fuel. I really like that. I still be a little bit cautious about spilling fuel in there. Of course, turn it off, but I like how wide and accessible that really is. And then finally, check this out. You can pick it up with the handle, cover on, and it's totally accessible. That is one of the best-selling features of this item, in my opinion, for sure. So what are my final thoughts? Good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, the good is that thing is compact. You saw how small it folds down, something about that big and as long as this box right here. Stores away really well. The brackets fold, well, it's easy assembly with the brackets. I really like those. They fold into place and stay out of the way. Also love that. I have no doubt that the company's claims verified by a third party will work, are absolutely 100% honest. It seems that way anyway from all the videos I've watched. So this product will do what it says it will do. The bad, those 4 brackets that go around the outside of the frame that hold everything into place, they do not feel very substantial. The ugly, the price. It is expensive. I love it. I'm glad I bought it. Buy once, cry once. It's going to work. But when you have to spend over $200 Canadian or well over $120, $130 American at least for one of these, the brackets don't have to be metal, but man, guys, they're just, that part of them are cheap, and I hate that. Like, I want to love this product. I want to give it a 5 out of 5, but those brackets make it like a 3.5 out of 5. If they were sturdier, I know they need to be adjustable, but if they were sturdier and they were metal, it would be 100% for sure. Will I still recommend it? Yes, with the caveat that be careful with those brackets. It's not like, the thing is, and I know those brackets aren't there. You're not going to be using them 5 times a week, 4 times a day, that kind of thing. You're only going to be using them once, twice, 3 times a year. And if you're careful and gentle with them, you're never going to have an issue. So I'm okay with that, and I get it. but for the price that you have to pay for it, I really wish those brackets were a little sturdier. Now I know also the fact that mine have to be extended the full length to get up and over my bigger generator. I get that, so they're going to be a little more wobbly, but still, come on, that's the one thing, you know, even if they had to put the price up another $10 and they made them out of like extruded aluminum or something, or even just a heavier plastic would have been good. That's my only gripe with this. I love how fast it assembles. That is awesome. I love how small and compact that it folds down to. I love the fact that the generator is still 100% mobile with it on there. I love the company's claims of being able to protect it from wind, rain, snow, and still give your engine plenty of air to get in there. So I love all of that. I love how it fits. I love how it looks. I'm happy with it. I'm going to use it. I'm absolutely going to use it. Is it for everybody? Maybe, maybe not. Could you spend that same amount of money and maybe build a soundproof enclosure that's also weatherproof? Possibly, but there's a lot of work involved. So if you want something that you can fold up, put away, keep in your garage, then absolutely, this is the way to go. Remember those brackets, be careful of those brackets. To me, that seems to be the weak point of the design, especially with all that stress of those tent poles on there. But again, the price is a little bit high. So I would say it's one of those it depends recommendations. I'm glad I bought it. I'm happy I have it. It's going to be a tool I'm going to use. But if you do pick it up, remember those brackets are a bit on the wonky side. So maybe check with the company and see, hey, how do I go about getting an extra set of brackets because I feel like these are going to break? And maybe they'll stand by their product. I hope they do because I know they're very proud of it. And to me, that's the one chink in the armor of something that could go wrong with this. That's it. Other than that, it's a perfect design. I love the way it's designed. The material's heavy. So that's it, guys. I wanted to share with you my final thoughts. Good, the bad, the ugly. Do I recommend it? Yes, but. So, you know, if you're looking for something and this suits exactly what you want, great. But there may be other options out there as well. So just wanted to put that out there for you guys. All right. And if you're new, keep coming around, man. I love these videos. I love making this stuff. And this was a 100% user-submitted idea. They mentioned this product to me. I grabbed it. I thought, hey, I got to do a review on it. So keep sending me these great ideas. I love emergency preparedness videos, generator videos, prepping videos, all of that. So keep sending me the ideas, and I'll keep doing them, guys. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week. Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we build business, create community, find freedom, and share success. It's Saturday, which means it's time for another edition of the Weekend Workshop, my favorite segment of the week. And this week I've got a good video for you, and this was 100% user suggested. A little while ago I got a comment on YouTube and I was asked, Tim, have you ever thought about putting together a video talking about putting together a blackout kit or a power outage, power emergency kit? And I thought, you know, it's something I do on a regular basis. I'm sure there's people out there that haven't given a whole lot of thought to it. And I'll bet most of my viewers do this sort of thing already, but there's always something we can learn from one another. So this week I want to tell you or share with you the essentials of putting together a power outage kit. All right, guys, real quick before we dive in, if you want to know more about who I am, toolmantim.co. That's toolmantim.co. You'll find links there to the podcast, weekly podcast, monthly newsletter, and the shop, where I have Amazon links to recommended products of over 100 things broke down into categories, products I've tested, products I've used, things that have worked for me. There's even a preparedness section over there with things like some of the products you're going to see in this video, some of the things I use in my own personal blackout bag, box, whatever you want to call it. Okay, guys, so let's dive into this week's subject. And like I said, this was community suggested, and I was all about putting together a blackout bag video. And if you guys think, what in the hell is a blackout bag? Well, it could be a power emergency kit. It could be what your grandmother used to do, where she kept a few matches and a couple of candles in the drawer in the kitchen just in case the power went out. But for us, we try to be a little bit more serious about putting together, items and things that'll help you in the short term or the long term when the power goes out. And this is probably one of the most common, I don't even know if we'd call it disasters, but this is one of the most common situations that we as, individuals or families are going to face. And that is, waking up in the middle of the night and the power's out. What do we do? So it's nice to have a few items put together that are going to make your life just a little bit easier. And so honestly, there's really two types of blackout bags. The first one is the one that I keep. And then, so that one is something that'll get you by for 3 or 4 hours. If it's a kind of a warmish summer, spring day, and you're like, I don't need to go out and hook up my generator just yet. The stuff in the freezer is going to be fine for half a day to a day. No problems there at all. I just need enough put together to get me by so that we can be relatively comfortable for 3 or 4 hours. And then I can decide if it's time to haul my big old generator out and run the whole house so the kids can have Netflix while, the power's out everywhere else. So that's the first one. It's just a small, very short-term blackout bag. And then there's the more substantial one, and that is, what emergency measures organizations and everybody say that you should prepare for 72 hours, 3 days. And that's the bare minimum, I think. And in that case, that's for people that maybe don't have a generator or some form of backup power. And so in that case, you're going to build a more robust blackout kit, something that's going to be able to, get you by and be more than just comfortable, be able to, survive and thrive for the next 3 days with no power in your house. So I'm going to first talk about the 3-hour blackout kit, and then I'll talk about a bigger, more substantial 3-day blackout kit. Okay, like I said, the first kit is that 3-hour blackout kit. I just call it 3 hours, 3 and 3. It's nice symmetry there, right? But so the 3-hour bare minimum basic blackout kit. And this is the type of thing that, number one, if it's nice out and you want to lay in bed and think, you know what, I'm good. We don't need to set up the generator yet. This will get you by. Or number two, if it's real shitty outside, real gross weather, all of that, and you need to get your generator up and running, this is the type of stuff you're going to need in the interim to, for the family to be semi-comfortable and for you to be able to safely get out, start your generator, and get everything hooked up. So what do I keep in my, I call it my nightstand power outage kit, because honestly, the most important time to have these power outage items is going to be when it's dark outside. If it's daylight, you got a lot more time to put things together. And it seems like a lot of times the power, when it goes out unexpectedly, is when you're in bed at night. So if you wake up, so a lot of these items, not everything, but a lot of these I just keep in the top drawer of my nightstand table. But the most important part of putting together a blackout kit is having an area to collect them in. Ideally, a box or a crate or a Rubbermaid, but if not, a single drawer where everybody in the family knows they can find it. So for us, if you're not into keeping it in a drawer like we are, there's this right here. This is my first aid kit, which I'll do another video on down the road. But what I picked up for that is a small, compact Rubbermaid storage container with locking handles. But the most important part, you see that blue seal all the way around? That is a waterproof rubber seal. When that clamps down, water can't get in there, or at least in theory, and it hasn't yet. So I've got 2 of these to put together my entire first aid kit. I'll talk about that another day. I'm no first aid expert, but I've managed to put together a robust first aid kit for my family. So have something like this to put everything in, or a drawer, and then teach the family how to use everything that's in the kit and show them where it is. So what do you need? Well, you wake up in the middle of the night, and of course, you're going to need flashlights. And I like this one here. It's the Coast. It's 610 lumens. Anything you see in here, if it's something I reviewed or I've liked before, I'll put links to the Amazon product description below, just so you can check it out if you're interested. But this is my go-to headlamp. I keep a few headlamps around. My kids love them. They think it's fun. They can go upstairs and hang around. When we have long-term power outages for a while and it was still nice out, I'd give them each a headlamp and they'd just be able to go around. But this is really important. I love flashlights, handheld flashlights. Yes, your phone has a flashlight. Yes, it'll work. You don't want to use your phone more than you have to in a power outage, of course. But I like this because it leaves your hands free. And I could put it on and look like a dorky miner, but you guys get the hint. But, the brighter, the better. And this guy has treated me really well. So you need some sort of flashlight. That's the first thing, obviously. And then, of course, what good's a flashlight if you don't have batteries? Now, this is my battery organizer. I did a video on it before. I'll do an upgraded one down the road. You don't need something this spectacular, but, make sure that you have a couple of packs of fresh batteries. and make sure that they're the right size to fit your flashlight because of course, if you need to get your generator started, you got to have some light to see or you're going to have a bad time. So batteries, a flashlight. Now the next thing, information is important. So you might want to find out, hey, what's going on? And all of these items are going to go in the long-term kit as well, but just for the short term. So some sort of pocket radio. I mean, it's kind of funny, but if you have access to the internet or that sort of thing, Facebook's going to be a way better source for local information. But if the internet's down, 3G, 4G, 5G, whatever's all down, the only place you're going to be able to turn, and you may not even be able to do that, but will be local AM, FM radio. So you've got that, a radio in there. I may never use that radio, but it's there just in case. I test it once a year. Don't keep the batteries in it just in case something leaks, but you got to have information if there's a power outage. But that could be more of a long-term thing, but I like to keep it in my short-term 3 to 4 hour thing as well. Now, here's the next one. And this is a real short term, and this is a fire extinguisher, or I like the fire spray, simply because it's small, anybody can use it, and you can just throw it in a bag and go. And of course, when there's power outages, a lot of times you're going to have power surges. You'll get, say, a tree limb on the power lines, it's going to go bzz, 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 and sometimes it can cause things to overload and cause small fires. And if you're going to have a fire because of a power outage, it's going to happen right after or soon after the power outage. So having some way to fight the fire works really well. I absolutely love this First Alert fire spray. We've actually literally used it a bunch of times on the barbecue, and it just really works. I checked it. It's good for electrical fires as well. So having a couple of cans of this in a 3 to 4 hour blackout bag, not a bad idea whatsoever. A couple other quick things. Of course, a battery pack. This is my Anker 20,000 battery pack, battery bank. This gives you something because, of course, your phone is going to want it. You're going to go on it, and usually, originally, when a power first goes out, the first thing you do is check your phone, and then you're going to be on it for a while because you're thinking, it's not going to be a long-term outage. But then all of a sudden, maybe you didn't plug your phone in last night, and you wake up in the middle of the night and your phone's down to 10%, and now you're thinking, what do I do? Well, one of these. You may not need it, but throw one of them in there. Just buy a cheap one if you have to. But I like having one that doubles as something I can travel with. Everything in here is something I use on a fairly regular basis for the most part. But a good battery bank is definitely essential to have in a blackout bag. Some candles, and again, you guys know that I love things that 2 is 1, 1 is none, and I love products that have multiple uses. So I never have a shortage of candles in my house because my wife loves candles. We always have some. You guys know also a lighter or some sort of source to light it with. This is my, I call it a Buy It for Life barbecue lighter. It's not quite, but you'll see the link below. This is my go-to. We always have a bunch of these around as well. But even if the power's out, it doesn't mean your house doesn't have to smell like Santa's cookies. Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Anyway, so some kind of candles and some way to light them is important as well. So if just in case those batteries you thought were good that you put in there for your flashlight and they weren't, you got backup. Plus, it smells good to have Santa's cookies around. And that's just about all that goes in there. A couple more little things. And of course, if your data and everything's down, or say your phone died and you want to have emergency contact information written down, laminated, something on a little card. Basically for me, it's just the power outage line. I don't know, sometimes it makes you feel like you're doing something by being able to call it and they'll tell you power will be resumed within 3 to 33 hours, that kind of thing, but it's good. Or maybe nobody's reported it yet and you want to call in and report the power outage, but have emergency contact numbers written down because it's great to rely on our phones and they're there and ready almost all the time, but having a physical backup on hand of just that little bit of information is going to help you. And then the last most important thing of putting together a 3-hour blackout bag is training. Is showing your kids, I could be away working somewhere, or, maybe I don't know. Anyway, whatever you do, maybe you work away and you want to make sure your family knows, but you want to make sure your wife or your husband or your significant other knows where the stuff is, knows how to use it, knows why to use it, knows when not to use it. And, maybe do a fake power outage with your kids a couple times. Say, okay, I want you to go down, get that headlamp on and turn it on. That might be all it is. Or, I want you guys to know where I keep these in the house, which they do. I want you to know how to use it, which if you've seen my video, they know how to use the fire spray. Just those simple little things. And then we can move into the long-term blackout bag. So this is basically all I keep for a blackout bag. And it's basically enough to get me by for 3 to 4 hours while I lay in bed and think, you know, a hot coffee would be nice. I want to hook up the generator. Or it's just a short one. The power's nice, or the weather's nice. And I think, you know what? This is all I need. So this is the basic. This is what I normally keep. Now, if you are putting together a 3-day, 72-hour emergency kind of kit and plan for your house, and it doesn't include some form of backup power like a generator, then you really need to go into a longer term, bigger, what I call 3-day blackout bag. So let's talk about what we might want to throw into that. What would you be dealing with differently in a 3-day power outage as opposed to a 3-hour power outage? Well, if you're laying in bed and you're a little hungry in 3 hours, not a big deal. After 3 days, you need a way to cook food, open food, deal with food. You need a way to stay hydrated, all of that. So it's, you know, keep some bottled water on hand, keep some big jugs of water on hand, have a water filter so you can filter water if need be, that kind of stuff. But you need to have enough water on hand for 3 days. You need to have a can opener to open up shelf-stable foods because that's going to be important. Now, are we going to just eat things cold or are we going to heat them up? Possibly even just a little camp stove, but that's getting a little bit beyond. But for 3 days, a can opener with a bunch of shelf-stable food and some bottled water, that's going to get you by. So that's one thing. You definitely want to have a can opener and some bottled water stashed aside for a power outage. And if you don't, well, maybe we can't be friends, but we can all learn, right? A few other things, card games, because you're going to want to pass the time. You're not going to have power to turn on Netflix or DVDs or whatever it happens to be. So 2 or 3 card games is fun. We like Uno and Skippo and games like that. Just throw them in your little power outage box, or better yet, have a weekly or monthly family night. I'm talking to myself here because we don't do that often enough, but you know, play cards, have something that passes the time, or maybe some board games, whatever, but you're going to need some form of entertainment in a 3-day blackout plan / bag. There's another one that not everybody thinks about, cash on hand, but I would say cash with small bills. Because I've noticed in my area over the last while, there's been a lot of places that aren't taking hundreds, or even some aren't taking 50s anymore. And if the power's out, bank machines aren't going to work. Places aren't going to be able to take your debit card or your credit card to make payments. So you're going to need to have something on hand that's going to allow you to be able to go to the store, because in a 3-day outage, there's probably going to be something you absolutely need. I'd say don't go out if you don't have to, but if you have to, have cash on hand. How much? Well, that depends. You know, it really does. But even $100 of small bills is going to get you by. Now, you know, more than that is ideal, but we won't get into all that today. But some cash on hand, and honestly in 20s, 10s, and 5s, because a lot of places might not have cash to break big bills, and you don't want to draw unnecessary attention to yourself. But mainly, a lot of places just don't want to take the big bills anymore, and they'll use a power outage to say, sorry, not going to happen. So, you know, 20s, 10s, and 5s, keep some of that on hand. That's important. Warm clothes, maybe some clothes you don't wear all the time, but you need, just throw them in there as well, or at least have access to them. Now, if you're at home, you know they're all in your closet or cupboard, that's great. But if this is something you're trying to build to be a little more portable, maybe throw in an old sweater, an old pair of sweatpants, an old shirt, some underwear. Don't forget the ladies' stuff. Put it all in there, and you're good to go. So if it's something you have to grab and go, good. But if it just happens to be a power outage and you need some extra layers, you can throw those on as well. Now, here's a couple other things you might need to think about. And this is a little bit outside the scope of a blackout bag, but know the location of emergency shelters in your area, and also have an evacuation plan. So if things get really bad and you need to go away and stay in a hotel somewhere, you can absolutely do it. You know, I have a plan for the 3 most common possible natural disasters in my area, and I have 3 routes to get away from each one if we need it, and I have ideas of where we'll go, where we'll stay if we need to do that. So you don't have to go that crazy, or that, not crazy, but that in depth with what you're doing. You just need to know, where can I go if this power outage lasts too long and I can't handle it? You know, we just can't. We can't get by anymore. We need to go. So know where your emergency shelters are and have an evacuation plan just in case things get worse than you think they might be gonna. Have some moving blankets on hand. So I don't know if you guys can see this. I use a moving blanket as the cover for my table here where I shoot my videos. They're indispensable. I actually use them for moving as well. We just moved them. I moved a lady recently and used them. But what's great about them is throw them over as many as you have. Quilts, comforters, moving blankets, throw them over your freezer, even your fridge if you have to, and it will help extend the life of the stuff that's in there. It'll help keep it frozen. It'll help keep it, you know, at least edible for a little bit longer. And just don't open your damn freezer, but keep it wrapped in blankets. It's going to make a big difference for you. Keep your car tank full. Now you might be saying, well, this isn't a blackout bag, Tim, but this is all part of, you know, a nice 3-day blackout bag / plan. But make sure that you never let your car fuel tank go below half a tank. It took me a lot of years to realize that it doesn't cost any more money to keep a gas tank full than it does to let it go to empty. So if you keep it full or never go below half a tank, you've always got at least the range of a half a tank to get you by, to get you away if the emergency is too long. Something else that can be important, especially in a power outage, before you do, make sure you have all of your important documents and that sort of thing backed up to a flash drive, or encrypt them and throw them up on Google Drive, whatever you need. But make sure you have access to those, because sometimes things happen and you're like, oh, we got to go, and you don't have that information. So as long as you have at least electronic copies, it's better than having nothing whatsoever. Another thing that's rather important in a blackout kit or planning for a blackout kit is a battery-powered CO2 monitor. A lot of people have the plug-in style, and some are backup powered, but if you don't, pick one of those up so that if you're cooking inside, you got candles burning, 100 different things, you're trying to heat the place, you know you're safe. That is important. Get one of those, test it every so often, throw it in your bag if you need to, or in your blackout kit, so that you know, okay, I'm good. All right, so I hope that helps. That's kind of the basic bare necessities. I will bet I forgot 100 things, but then people are going to say, well, yeah, but what do I do if my food's going to go bad? And anyway, so this is to get you by for 3 days. The stuff in your freezer, if you wrap it with blankets, is probably not going to go bad in 3 days. Now, if it's cold outside, take the stuff from your fridge and put it outdoors in a snowbank. My dad always used to love to do that. On Christmas, he'd take the pop, and there's no room in the fridge. He's like, guess what, Tim? I'm going to put the pop out in the snowbank, and it's going to stay cold. Yeah, that's great. I love that. So if your fridge is warming up and you're trying to keep your house warm, don't let your food spoil in your fridge simply because you didn't put it outside in a snowbank. And if it's nice out and it's too hot and you're worried about stuff going off in the fridge, whatever you can cook, take it out and grill it on your barbecue. Whatever it is, there's always solutions. And of course, if you're going into 3, 4, 5 days, start pulling out that meat out of your deep freeze and start cooking it. But you're good for a few days between the insulation and wrapping your blankets. And then, you know, you might look at getting a small automotive inverter, something big enough you can plug into your car, and then you can run your freezer once in a while and your fridge once in a while. But that is for another day to talk about for another video. So I hope you guys liked this look into what I put together for a blackout bag, how I handle power outages, and I hope you learned something from it. I know I learned things just by putting these videos together, and I know you guys will tell me the things I forgot, or maybe suggestions that I could add to it to improve it, or maybe things that you've come across, tips or tricks or whatever. Or maybe you could tell us a story about when you planned for a power outage and you failed miserably. I love hearing that. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, stick around, become part of our community, let us know who you are, share your knowledge with us, and let's grow together, guys. So I appreciate you dropping by. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week. Where we build business, create community, find freedom, and share success. It's Sunday night, which means it's time for one of my favorite segments of the week, Talking Tools. So if you guys are one of the ones watching this on the replay, one of the millions, thanks for dropping by. And if you're here tonight to have a chat with us and listen, I'm going to share with you guys all of my backup battery systems, or at least my rechargeable battery systems. So sorry about that, I had a little feedback. But anyway, so I posted a poll tonight, guys, to see what the temperature was in your area. We finally got way below. It was like 65 was the high today, which was awesome. I got out and did some siding, but we'll talk about that later. So anyway, this week I wanted to share with you guys, let's see if we can adjust this just a little bit there, my rechargeable battery setup. You guys know I'm huge into preparedness, of course, and backup power is always important to me. And the thing that we use the most around the house is batteries. And these right here, I'm going to share with you a little bit about my setup, but that's kind of how I keep everything organized. But the most important thing, of course, when the power's out is to find backup sources of power. So if you have a good storage of recharged batteries, maybe power tool batteries, of course a generator, all of that stuff is great. But tonight I wanted to focus on what I have, what I use. You know, the old 2 is 1, 1 is none, and 3 is a guarantee. Well, you'll see my 3 different battery chargers, and maybe it'll give you some ideas of things that you might need or want to use. So first off, the batteries themselves. So my main ones, you guys know, are my Eneloop batteries, and that is these guys right here. Those are the 1900 milliamp hour white Eneloops, and these are the black high capacity 2450 Eneloop batteries. The big thing, as you guys may or may not know, is to look for made in Japan. The made in Japan Eneloops are the better quality, the higher capacity, the ones that have been, and I believe from what I understand, hey sweetie, Charlie's in tonight. Thanks for dropping by, sweetheart. And from my understanding, the batteries out of Japan are the ones that have stood the test of time, and those are the ones we're looking for. So, recently ran into some information, and you guys have probably heard this before. These are the Lada rechargeable batteries from IKEA, and supposedly they are exactly the same. Now, we're going to do some comparison tests down the road and whatnot, but they're 2450 milliamps, and they're made in Japan, and apparently there's only one factory in Japan that makes these. So, you know, anyway, for 25% the cost of what these Eneloops are, it may just be something to look into, but I'm going to touch on that down the road. So as far as how I keep them organized, well, you know, I keep them in my nightstand table. The kids know where the rechargeables are because they're always after me for Xbox controllers, but you know, that sort of thing. We need batteries for flashlights, headlamps, use them for my gadgets out in the garage. I've got a sound monitor. What else do we have? Well, basically the sound monitor, my stud finders, my laser levels, all of that. And they all require power. So what better way than to have rechargeables so you're not throwing them out and wearing them out all the time. So this is the organizing case. I'll put links up afterwards, guys, if you see anything and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, Tim. Or even better, if you guys have something better that you use, I'd love to see recommendations, because you know me, I'm always looking for review videos. But this is a hard, soft-sided case, if that makes sense. So it'll survive a fall, but it's cushioned and padded. It has these knockouts. I looked for something that was only AA and AAA because that's all I keep around. It holds quite a bit. I've got quite a few more than these, but this is the extras I have right now. This one came with one of these chintzy little chargers, but you know what? They absolutely work. Let's see if I can show you one-handed here. So there we are. That's all it is. It's an analog battery tester. Now I would like to, so if anybody you guys out there have a suggestion, I'd love to find a digital, you know, an actual tester for rechargeable batteries that end up showing me a digital readout of the actual voltage. This is pretty good, but it's one of them things, it's like, sometimes you look at it, I'll show you there, you can never quite tell what's good, what's bad, somewhere in between. So it's nice to have, I'd love to have something that give me a little more accurate reading. So if you guys have any suggestions for that, that would be great. So of course, we've got rechargeable batteries. One other type of battery I keep in the back of my kit are these 2032s. I may even do a video on these guys down the road, but everything runs off these now. All those little kitchen gadgets, that sort of thing. My digital meat thermometer runs off this. My digital kitchen scale runs off these. And in a pinch, the 2040s are also interchangeable. So if you guys see that, there they are right there. I just buy a bulk pack from Amazon and they last a long time. Apparently, I seen an article the other day. We're going to end up having atomic, thank you, lovely batteries. They're actually working on these tiny little batteries that are going to use a microscopic amount of atomic waste that, as it breaks down, will power these small, very low drain devices for years, decades, and even centuries. So once that comes, they'll come built in and we may not need that kind of stuff. But until then, here we are. We need backup power. So where did I start? Well, I want to show you guys this one first. These are the old little plug-in wall chargers. They take about 4 hours to charge a battery. When I first started, I had the green Duracells. They were great, but they just didn't have the lasting capacity, the lasting power of the Eneloops. So I switched over, but I had a charger like this. This one ended up coming, I don't want to say free because it wasn't free, but it come included in my Eneloop Black Pro kit that I bought not long ago from Costco. Really nice kit. It's a good entry level if you're looking for a way to enter the Eneloop Pro market that isn't absolutely outrageously expensive. And my lovely wife, of course, she's awesome. She's the one, she goes, honey, look, they've got your black Eneloops on the Costco website. She said, I'm going to order you some. And of course, she always supports us for our backup power preparedness, that kind of stuff. So she ended up helping me order that kit, and this is what came in it. So this is what I started with, were just these little tiny plug-in-the-wall chargers. They take like 4 hours, and they hold 4 batteries, and they're not too bad. Hey, Joseph! Your ears must have been burning. No, I wasn't really talking about you yet, but I'm going to. I got you in my notes for later on. And I can almost guarantee, I don't know if Joseph saw the poll or not, but I'll bet you it was above, actually I have inside information to know that it was above 90 degrees there today. That our little conversation on Messenger earlier was what set up my poll tonight. But anyway, so if you're just getting started, you're looking for an inexpensive charger, something of a brand name, these are really good. They just flatten the back, plug them in. They're slow as the dickens. They're slow as all get out. See if we can adjust that just a little bit there, guys. There we are. But they do the trick. They put a charge back in your battery. So then if you want to get into something a little more substantial, I bet you Joseph was out mowing today. He never stops. He's way worse than I am. But like I said, got to make hay while the sun shines. When it gets cold, things will slow down for us. But so here was the first charger. That was just a plug in the wall. And then we moved up to the prepper's best friend, and that's this PowerX Maha Energy Charger. Hey, Chicken Hawk. Yes, I know you love Eneloop. I figured I'd get everybody in tonight because we're talking about Eneloop. But so this was the next charger I ended up going with. It's a digital, but it doesn't have a lot of special functions or features on it, but it does the trick. It'll charge eight batteries in any combination, AA's, AAA's. You can have 1, 2, 3, all the way up. Doesn't matter what order you put them in about an hour. Love this thing. It does a quick charge in an hour and gives you, I think, about 90% capacity, or it'll do a slow deep charge, and it will make sure she never skips the ads. Thank you. Or you can do a deep charge where it goes slow and puts the full capacity back in your battery. So this is a really nice one. They're a little on the expensive side, but I have noticed that PowerX, or Maha, whatever you want to call it, has been starting to come out with upgraded, better chargers for the cost. Now, my absolute biggest pet peeve with this guy is the charger port. It looks like an old-fashioned serial MOS adapter. And if you want to replace this, you've got to go back to Maha Energy, or PowerX, whatever you want to call it, which is fine. But you know what I'm like with cords. I tend to forget them or cut them or lose them. And there's nothing worse than having a proprietary cord that you got to go back to the company and pick up. So that's the only downside if you're looking for a top-notch, prepper rated charger for your AA, AAA batteries. This is the guy to go. Model number is the MHC800S, and this has been one that's been recommended on TSP in a bunch of different places for ages. And then I decided, of course, since I didn't have enough chargers and I wanted something a little fancier that could do a little more number crunching and some more features, I just picked up this beaut here. Got more drinking to do at the Tiki Bar. I'll catch you all in the next one. Have a good night, Ted. I've got my keto-friendly 5% peach vodka soda here tonight. So I don't know if this is a Canadian-only thing, but it's got a funny name, Nude. But it's surprisingly tasty. It's not bad. So here's the other one, guys. This is the other charger, just as fast. Downside is it only takes 4 batteries, but it's a lot more in-depth. So what I picked this guy up for, night Ted, thanks for dropping by. I love seeing you. You guys should have seen the video he posted earlier. He's down at a resort right now, and it's nice. So this guy has a charge, a break-in, a discharge, and a refresh analyze mode on it. And the reason I picked this guy up was for the discharge mode. So you can put regular alkaline batteries in there, or when I decide to do let's see if the IKEA batteries are every bit as good as Eneloop batteries, You can put your batteries in this sucker and it will drain them bone dry and tell you the exact capacity that was in them. There's a little bit of technical know-how. It's not that bad, but once you get used to the settings on it, it'll tell you exactly how much charge was in the battery and how much it was able to suck out of it. So you might think, well, what the hell good is it, a charger that takes charge out of a battery? Well, like I said, it'll let you know how your life cycle is holding up on the rechargeable batteries, but it also will tell you, hey, you know what? Those Sunbeam batteries that I buy at Dollar Tree for $1.25, because in Canada our dollar isn't worth as much. And if anybody else noticed Dollar Tree lately, they took off their sign. I guess in the States, of course, it's everything under $1, but up here it's everything under $1.25. They took that down and now they've started putting higher prices on things. So whatever, inflation, right? But so yeah, if you're looking for a higher end charger that will tell you a little more about what your batteries are doing and supposedly can bring back to life batteries that are absolutely stone dead and no other charger can touch them, this guy will do it. And he is the, where is it? The MHC 9000 Pro. Again, once this video re-uploads after it's processing whatever it is that YouTube does, I'll put links so everybody can see them. And a while back, I asked the community about 9-volt batteries, looking for something that's rechargeable, and I wasn't really sure which way to go with them. I ended up settling on this guy right here. This is the EBL 9-volt battery charger. It's kind of cool. I haven't even had it out to test it yet, but the batteries are right there, totally rechargeable. And from what I've been told, rechargeable 9-volt batteries do not work well in smoke detectors, and that was my big thing. So I also have stud finders and a laser thermometer. All of those take these 9-volt batteries. I wanted to stay away from these damn things the best I could, and I couldn't. So I ended up getting these. They're supposed to be really good in those type of drain devices, just not great in smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors. So I think I'll end up having to keep some maybe Amazon Basics or something on hand for those. But this guy runs just off of a normal USB mini or micro cable. So we'll give it a shot. Definitely going to see a review on this guy down the road, but it was time. I kept getting these little gadgets that had 9-volt batteries in them, and it was time to expand the charging capability. So there we are. So what else do I have for rechargeables that I wanted to show you? Like I said, we've got, so coming up pretty soon, we're going to do a roundup of, we got the white and black Eneloops, the Ladas from IKEA, and these are the high capacity Amazon Basics rechargeable batteries. So we're going to basically see how well do they hold up to the capacity ratings they say, cost per battery. We'll do a comparison and we'll see what ends up being the best choice, the best price. I'm sure I'll end up sticking with my Eneloops because I've already invested $4 a battery Canadian in most of these, and they're going to last forever. But hopefully maybe we can help some people save some money down the road, especially somebody who's just looking to get into rechargeable batteries and, you know, have a little bit of stored power on hand just in case we have a blackout, a power emergency, whatever it happens to be. But, you know, any of this information I can throw along to other people makes me absolutely happy. Chicken Hawk, if you're still in here, I know you did a video not long ago on your Harbor Freight solar power setup, and I'm definitely looking for a recommendation to do a review on. The downside, of course, being no Harbor Freight in Canada, but I'd love to have something that could power, and I'm kind of throwing this whole idea out here because I haven't really maybe worked it all around in my brain yet, but I'm looking for a solar charger or a solar panel setup that in a, you know, a long-term power outage kind of situation, a feller could run your battery chargers off of and get juice back into your AA's and AAA's. So if, you know, Chicken Hawk, if you've got a recommendation or if anybody else has seen something that you really like, point me in the right direction. I'll give it a try. We'll give it a shot. A couple of tips on my rechargeable batteries, things that I use when I'm, you know, just to keep them organized. Number one, this is kind of, it's an old man thing. My kids like it. But if you see, so any of the dead batteries, I put them in upside down. When I get 8, I run it through. I figure saves me from having to have to put like 4 or 5 in the charger, even though it'll take it. I got enough that I can handle keeping a few dead ones in there, but I keep them upside down so I know. And the other thing that I do, because the batteries are so damned expensive, for almost $4 a battery at this point, Whenever I give one to my kids, or I put one in one of my wife's devices, or I put it somewhere, I keep a notepad on my phone and I say, okay, this is where the battery went, this is the date it went in there, and then I have an idea, well, I know where my batteries are at any time, because I think I've got over 100 of them. And what's the sense in having a whole bunch of AA, AAA rechargeable batteries if you don't use them? So you don't know if they work, you don't know how they work, so you might as well have them, have the kids using them, have the wife using them, have me using them, so that we know what works, how well they work, and we can work the bugs out long before we ever may need them in an emergency. So I keep a list on my phone of where all the batteries go, and you can, point and laugh and call me an old man for all you want, but it's a big expense and I want to keep track of them. So, if anybody else wants to steal that tip, feel free. So that was a quick overview. I might do a more in-depth video, maybe a 3 or 4 part series on Saturdays of my rechargeable system and setup and that sort of thing, if there's definitely a call for it. A lot of my weekend workshop videos are starting to come in as recommendations from you guys in the community. The Blackout bag video did really well this weekend. It trended a lot better than most of my videos. And so the emergency preparedness videos seem to be doing really well. If you guys like them, obviously I'll keep doing more. I enjoy doing them. That's one of the things I like talking about, of course. So yeah, you'll definitely see more of those. My generator videos seem to be doing good. For simple, here we go. For simple, and all you'd have to add is an inverter. It would work very good for that, in my opinion. I use my bigger setup to keep all my power tool battery. Yes, sir. So Chicken Hawk, does it, it's been a while since I watched it, but so does it feed into like a big 12-volt battery and then you can just slap an inverter onto it and charge from there? I'm probably answering my own question, but if that is the case, I was pretty sure that's how it's set up. So I know Amazon has some. I may have to do some digging. The missus and I we want to go to the States shopping in the worst way, but as of right now, our border, how's it work? Our border is open for us to come back, but your guys' border isn't open for us to go to Montana. All right, cool. Thanks, Hawk. I thought so, but I wanted to make sure. So yes, that is basically it. So I'm going to look into that setup, and maybe that'll be one of the things I'll pick up. I also want to get one of those Predator generators. I hope my wife's not watching tonight, because I really don't need any more generators, but I would love to pick one of theirs up to do a head-to-head with some of my stuff. Plus, again, 2 is 1, 1 is none, and 3 is a guarantee. I had to sell 1 generator, so I didn't have 3 anyway. So, but yeah, I'll check that out. And I think Crappy Tire, as you guys know, I call them Canadian Tire. They have some of the Coleman setups up here, and the price isn't too bad on them. They're pretty reasonable. I'm going to give them a shot, maybe. We'll see. And if I get the right price on something, maybe I'll pull the trigger sooner. But if the borders will ever open for us to get down there, Cheap RV Living on YouTube. Yes. I'll check that out, John. I've watched their channel before, and I'll go back and check some of that stuff out, because I'm definitely looking for and I don't want it to be expensive. Like a lot of the stuff I do reviews on, I want it to be at least accessible to everybody. And I don't know why the light keeps changing in here, guys. Sorry about that. It's something to do with the sensor in the phone, but anyway. But yeah, in that $200-300 range to get started, just for a basic solar backup, because again, it's good to have a backup to a backup to a backup to at least, so then, I've got all my batteries stored with a charge in them, with chargers, have them all ready to go. And of course, at some point, if you have to drain them all, I mean, this would be a long-term situation, so it's not something that's super likely, but I certainly would love to have a solar setup, something that I could use maybe on a semi-regular basis as well. I'd like to figure out some day-to-day uses, because I hate buying something that's just strictly to have just in case. I'd rather have something that I can use on a regular basis, because to me it seems like a bit of a waste of money if you're buying it for down the road. And that's just me, whatever, no big deal. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm heading. I don't know if what brand do you guys, I know where Hawk stands on this one, but what brand do you guys use for your rechargeable batteries? Again, Eneloop has been kind of in the prepper community for a long time. They're well known. I know some people are starting to really swear by the Amazon Basics rechargeables. But yeah, if you guys, anyone out there has a suggestion for maybe a 3rd or 4th brand that you'd like me to do a head-to-head on, I'll gladly do it, because yeah, batteries are fun. I bought that nice new fancy charger that I got to run through its paces, so I'd love to be able to do a bunch of different videos on different types of batteries and that sort of thing. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on batteries for this week. I'll go more in depth down the road. I wanted to start another segment, another new segment. I've been really trying hard, guys, to spotlight different members in the community. And I know if you guys saw last week, Monday's Money Making Minute, say that 10 times fast, was Ryan Collett. Yeah, he did a little guest review, which was really cool. And this week I wanted to, some of the different community members that we have are content creators as well. So I wanted to highlight a few of their videos that they did this week, some things that I learned from them. I guess all of this came about from, it turns out I like learning about, I'm glad you like learning about batteries too, Charlie. Oh, I used your real name. Anyway, so if you guys haven't watched Joseph's new video on AirTags, does it say BBL batteries? I'm going to claim ignorance on that one, Hawk. I'm going to have to look them up because I would, absolutely looking for different brands to try out. Bell. Okay, right on. So yeah, if you guys haven't watched Joseph's video on, and I think these are right, they're called Apple AirTags. They're incredible. I had no idea what they did. So, and it's just a short video. It's like a 7 or 8 minute video. So take a minute and watch that from him because I've got all kinds of ideas for videos. See, Joseph, I tell you, you get me motivated and started on things, but I got to pick up a 4-pack of them and I want to test those guys out. I had no idea. They work on kind of that. Of course, they all run on Bluetooth, but what the Apple AirTags have, and I don't want to spoil it, but they work on kind of a mesh network and they will automatically upload to the network anytime they're in the distance of an Apple iPhone. And in this day and age, when are you not within Bluetooth range of an Apple iPhone, even in my small little town? So I'm not going to ruin any more of Joseph's video, but check that out. I thought it was cool. Another one I shared this week, if you guys don't know Amy Dingman, she does the Farmer's Kind of Life podcast. Incredible. Her and her husband and their 2 homeschool, almost grown-up boys at this point, have a homestead in Minnesota. Check out their stuff. She did a real good ranty video on why places can't find workers right now. And basically she boiled it down. Well, there's a lot of stuff and it's worth watching, but the whole idea was people are used to being home now. They love being home. They've learned, hey, maybe I can be a little more independent as an entrepreneur. Sorry, audit. Oh, that's okay. And, but yeah, basically people love being home. They realize, hey, some of us can survive on one income. More importantly, people are realizing, hey, we can be more independent, make our own money, not be beholden to what other people force on us and that sort of thing. So check that one out. I really enjoyed that. This one was from a couple weeks ago, but if you guys haven't seen Chicken Hawk's little fuel storage cart, it reminded me of what Joseph did. He posted on social not long ago. He bought one of those, I think it was a Rubbermaid janitor's cart, something like that. Anyway, Chicken Hawk's is a metal cart, but he stores all of his 5-gallon jugs of gas on it. So check that out. It's real simple. I love simple solutions, and it was just absolutely accurate. Not accurate, what's the word I'm looking for? Just, it was simple and it did what it was supposed to do. It elevated the gas, it made it mobile, and it allowed you to fuel up. It was basically a mobile fueling station made out of a janitor cart, but check it out. It was really cool. And then I don't think Greg's in here tonight, but if you guys, I know Greg Arcade was in here last week. He is just the most incredible country singer. I don't know why he doesn't have a bigger following on YouTube, but he stumbled across me on Float a few months ago, and we've just kind of hit it off. We've chatted a lot. He's a fellow Canadian content creator, but he's a musician. So check him out on YouTube. But he just put out a new original song called When the Dust Dies Down, and it's awesome. So check it out. Like I love throwing all of your guys' stuff out there. It's awesome. How else are we going to grow as a community but by sharing each other's stuff? So if you guys don't subscribe to everybody else out there and it's something you're interested in, check it out. And I don't know anybody who follows me on social, but if you happen to see my homemade Hornet contraption, I was out again last night. This was something again that was, we put it together. It was a group think project last year, I think, in the Survival Podcast Facebook forum, back when it was still a big growing concern. And I asked everybody, I'm like, I need to get rid of a whole bunch of Hornets. what do I do? What do I use? Where do I start? And, we basically put a whole bunch of different ideas together, and I settled on this great big high-powered shop vac that I have with a 12-foot length ABS pipe, and then I fill the bottom with 4 inches of water and a bunch of Dawn dish detergent. And the thing works like the thing works like a charm. It just gets in there and it literally sucks the life out of out of the hornet's nest. I had a few people that are like, "Oh, why do you use spray?" And I'm like, "You know why I use spray? Because I'm the one jumping in there on a hornet's nest. If you guys don't like spray, I'm okay with that. But I'm going in there. I'm going to buy the strongest knockdown stuff I can get because I'm getting paid to be there." And I dealt with 2 nests last night. One was in a wall and it sucked. I had to go back twice to treat that because it's in a rental I deal with. So I had to actually pull the wall board off and get in there and kill it. So it was really cool. So if you guys want to see more on that, I may even do a little video. I did one last year. I called it, I think it was the Jackass. Johnny Knoxville would be proud or something like that. The Jackass method for removing hornets. But if you're looking for something that'll allow you to get something, what's cool about it too is that last year we were able to use it up on the peak of a roof for 2 different houses. One was on the peak and one was under the eaves. So you can actually stand on the ground and suck that hornet's nest at a safe distance and basically be able to do it and not worry about it. But it takes me 10 minutes. I charge $100 per nest to remove it. I would love to do more of them this year, but it's worth it. It's worth it for the customer who you suck those nests away and they don't have to deal with it. And it's worth it for me because I'm willing to take a bit of a risk for a reasonable pay for something that doesn't take that long once you're set up. But you got to build the contraption first, which isn't difficult, and then get out there and get comfortable being around bees and hornets. Haven't got stung yet, excuse me, in 4 nests that I've done with this contraption. But I did earlier this year. I was doing some pole saw trimming with my DeWalt, and I just must have went over an underground nest or a nest somewhere, and all of a sudden I was getting stung. And it didn't feel great, but you get used to it. And you guys, I'm sure we've talked about this before, but if you haven't noticed, shortages in the stores. I know Joseph, maybe a month or 2 ago, had mentioned the caulking and sealants and stuff was a huge shortage. Well, in our area, right now, you cannot find a can of spray that'll kill a hornet or a wasp anywhere. We have been hot and dry like most of the continent, so there's been a huge demand. For whatever reason, hornets and wasps have built their nests way more. They're just everywhere this year, and nobody can seem to find the spray. And of course, there's also a shortage on it, so there's a bigger demand, and most of the hardware stores that I've been to can't even refill their orders. So what's happening is once it gets sold out, they can't replenish it. So we got a 1-2 whammy there, of course, back from before with all the shutdowns. They didn't make a lot of it. Then things got held up in shipping, and now there's a huge demand for it, and it's kind of like the lumber situation. And speaking of lumber, I don't know if you guys have seen, but prices are coming down a little. 2x4s are down in like the $6 range now from a high of like 11. So that's something. Most of it hasn't moved yet, and I'll bet you a lot of it isn't because it's just sitting. Nobody's buying it because the price is so high. They're not bringing in new inventory. So we'll see. I don't know. It's going to be a game of chicken, or where you stand there and stare at each other until one gives, and then finally the price drops a little more. But So yeah, if you guys are looking for a cool little contraption, my hornet's nest contraption, totally not patented whatsoever. So give it a shot if you want to. What else do I have coming up this week? Yes. So if you guys, I believe it'll be Tuesday this week, you should see me, or at least hear me on TSP. Going to be on there as an interview show. I'm not sure if it'll be Tuesday, but sometime this week. So keep an eye out on that. I won't give away what I'm talking about, but it's kind of cool. So I'm excited to get back on there and have an hour of chat with Jack. That'll be a lot of fun. Going to get out tomorrow and finish. If you guys have been following me on social, I've been working on a fairly substantial sod job. Basically did it all by myself. I went up to the nursery to pick up the sod. It was 650 square feet. I thought last year I'd picked up that same amount. I got there, buddy loaded up my truck, and it was way too heavy, way too heavy. So I moved things around. I put some sod in the front seat with me and balanced things out a bit, and it worked Anyway, I got it home, unloaded it all, put it all down, and I don't know what in the hell I did, but I somehow overestimated the amount of sod I needed by about 20%. Now, sod's one of those things, if you ever worked with it, if you have, you can use almost every single piece you have because you can just cut it and piece it into place and set it down. But I don't know how I ended up with about 200 extra square feet that I used in my backyard because I just didn't need it. So, measure twice and order once. But yeah, the weight was more than my Dodge Ram should have had. I should have taken my trailer with me, but I thought from the year before I'd ordered the same amount, but I think looking back, it was probably more like 400 or 450 square feet. But, it made it home. It didn't die, or I didn't break the suspension or anything. And I got out today and worked on some siding. If you guys have been following me there, the house is coming along really good. So I just want to say, if you guys are ever scared of taking on a new skill, a new task that you've never done before, do it. My wife is my biggest encourager, and I love her to death because I will tell her all the time, I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And she's like, damn well you can. Stop selling yourself short, Tim, because I do that. I really am good at selling myself short sometimes. And so I just brought it on myself. I'm like, I've never done vinyl siding before. Frig it. I'm going to learn how to do vinyl siding. So I went to university, the YouTube university, watched a bunch of videos, learned a metric shit ton of tips and tricks, and watched other people's failures and that sort of thing. Started on my garage, started on a wall that didn't matter. By the time I had the garage done, I was comfortable enough to do the house. And now I'm almost done 3/4 of my entire house. The hardest wall's done already. I'm going to probably save 10 grand on this job when I'm all done because I did it myself. Super excited about it. And I feel empowered now that if I wanted to do a job for another customer, I would do it. It would come down to, how difficult, how tall the house is, that sort of thing. But that being said, I have added a ton of new skills to my repertoire, to my skill toolbox that I can now take and use in other places. And you do laminate flooring and you learn the skill of, okay, my offcut here goes over here. My offcut here goes over here. Works the same way with siding. So you can apply a lot of what you already know, but doing all of these, some of the cool things I've learned is, how to take J-trim and, excuse me, there we go, Pepsi Max. How to go around a window with J-trim, that's been really cool. And the best part has been learning how to cut the gable ends. Maybe I'll do a 1-minute video on that. Basically, take a square piece of siding, click it into the level below it, slide it over till it hits the angle, measure that bottom piece, and you've got your, you come in, put your dash there, and now you have where you mark your angle and cut it off. And it's to the point now where when I cut siding, I know pretty damn close. I'm going to know where it is. And the cool thing about siding is it's pretty forgiving. If you end up overcutting something, just cut it off and reuse it in another spot. But yeah, so if anybody is out there thinking, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, maybe there's a real reason. But if you're like me, sometimes you just get a little insecure, you sell yourself short, and you need to realize, wait a minute, I can do this, and I will do this, and I will learn doing it. And now I got a whole new skill set that I can take out there and make some money with. So yeah, just a little encouragement for you guys. So how's everybody else been? I've done all the rambling. I guess it is my channel, so I'm allowed to talk a little bit, right? But what's anybody else worked on this week? I haven't looked at the poll. Let's see what it says. We got, what, 80%? So we had 80% said it was above 90 degrees and 20% said it was below. If you guys want to know something absolutely crazy, we had 5 votes on the poll too, so thanks guys. I actually have leaves down here already. So if you guys want to think, yeah, I know you guys are like, wait a minute, it's just coming on second summer here for where we are. Well, for us, we're coming on fall real quick. I drained the pool today, not because it's not going to be cold enough, but because it just wasn't getting used anymore and it was getting a little gungy. So we decided to drain that. But it's almost like when we flick a switch, we get our first coolish day around here. Those leaves start dropping just a little bit. It's like, okay, the mindset needs to change. So heading into fall for us, my big money makers, are, well, people will want me to do their windows one more time, but the big one for me is eaves trough cleaning. And if you're like, Tim, what the hell are eaves troughs? Well, that's okay because you're not from where I'm from, but gutters. So gutter cleaning. And there is literally nothing more simple than cleaning gutters. If you have a ladder and a bucket and some hands, you can get up and you can make money doing it. There's a ton of different videos out there. Checking it out. I've done a couple in the past, but yes, if you're looking for, if you need a side hustle, anybody, lots of money to be made. But I think we did about 30 houses last year. So once kind of the 1st of October comes around, that's my 1 month between grass contracts and snow contracts. So yes, eaves trough cleaning, gutter cleaning is a big one for me, and fall yard cleanups, getting all the leaves put away before the winter snow sets in. So yeah, but as far as the cold weather goes, I mean, we've still got some 90-degree days coming up. I'm sure we will, but they're going to be few and far between pretty quick. 1st of September, we don't normally get snow in September, but it's absolutely possible up here, and it won't last. But, normally the 1st of November is when we can count on the snow, and it's going to come and stay. But, we've had an incredibly dry summer up here. The farmers are in rough shape. But part of that is the fact that the plants or the trees are shedding their leaves already. So I don't know about you guys, but yeah, I mean, I don't mind some cold weather coming. And I do love when snow weather comes along because I enjoy being out and working in the cold. But, hey, John, thanks for dropping by, buddy. It's nice to see you. We spent some time chatting about rechargeable batteries tonight and then went through some things I got on the go right now, but I was just asking everybody how the weather's been, what you guys are shaping up to get done this week. Any projects anybody's got on the go. Always love hearing about that stuff. Always enjoy hearing about anything you guys are doing. Any products you got for recommendations for me as well. Always love hearing about that stuff. But yeah, and we got a busy week coming up, but it's going to be a short week for me. 3 days, and then Thursday we're heading to the city. We're taking my twin daughters and we're taking my nephew with us, and we're going to go to, it's like an indoor theme park that's attached to the West End Mall, which is, I think the only mall that's bigger is the one in Minnesota, the Mall of America, I believe. Anyway, so indoor roller coaster, indoor water park, and it's going to be fun. I always love getting away and having a good time, but I've been working my ass off these last few days to get everything done so that I can take and head out. And our town has this big flower inspection. I can't even remember. Communities in Bloom, it's called. So everybody's all excited about making sure their lawns look really good. So Tuesday, Wednesday this week, we're going to go through and do all of our lawns again, just so everybody can be happy. Hot the way I like it too. I like it, John. I do like it hot. Not like, I guess, what Marilyn Monroe say, some like it hot. But anyway, I enjoy the heat, and I normally do. And we normally have, on average, maybe 5 days above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So, maybe 5 days above 30 degrees Celsius any other summer. And this summer, we've had well over 30 of them. And I mean, like weeks on end and into the 40s. Like we had one day that was up over 109. And for Canada, on the prairies, 109, I think it was 109.4 Fahrenheit was disgusting. And it's, in our days, they stay hot up here too. Like right into the nighttime. You go to bed and it's still, the other night there, it was 9:30 at night and it was still 90 degrees out. So it, yeah, I enjoy it to an extent, but I'm also built for the winter, so I really enjoy that. I love the money I make from the snow in the wintertime. I enjoy the maybe a little more flexible, there's a little more downtime as well, which is really cool. I always enjoy that. But yeah, I'm ready for the heat to be over with. Not wanting to complain because I'll take the heat if I can get it. And how hot was it there today, John, if you're still kicking around here? But it never got up above, I want to say 65 or 68 here today. So it was just perfect. It felt, I went mowing on the zero turn. I had to do a local commercial property wearing shorts, and I was almost just a little bit on the cool side. So, whatever. I enjoy it. I like it. And I always love, there's just something about that, the swing in seasons. It reminds us that, hey, 91, okay, yeah, you can have it. No, not really. It's been there. It was there yesterday. It was there 2 days ago when I did the sod job. It was miserably hot and muggy. And of course, we got the wildfires that are British Columbia that are coming through here, making the whole town smell like campfire. I don't know if anybody else has had them. I know Amy Dingman mentioned in her podcast on Farmer's Kind of Life that they had a ton of the smoke in Minnesota. So that means it's working its way east as well. Tulsa, right on. But yeah, so, but one thing that I find about these change in the seasons is it reminds us, hey, we got to finish up our jobs that we've maybe been putting off or haven't quite finished yet, like siding on the house, although I've got a couple months yet. But, you know, it's a good reminder of, hey, let's get our butt in gear, let's get things finished up, let's get things going. But it's also, my dad always used to say, a change is as good as a rest. And for me, of course, living in Canada, seasons are a way of life. They are that way everywhere. But I love the cyclical nature of seasons. It's like, okay, I've got 3 months of summer to get all this stuff done. Then I go into 3 months of fall, and then 17 months of winter, and then back to a month or two of spring, you know. But I enjoy it. There's like a cycle nature to life. You know, we get outside a lot here, but there's times when it gets really cold. Enid, Oklahoma. Yeah, I was going to say Joseph's in Oklahoma as well. So you guys is that right in Tornado Alley down that way somewhat? You know, I try to know my geography, but I'm not. I always know whenever I hear. Seems like when I hear about tornadoes, they tend to be down in the Oklahoma area. But see, that's kind of cool. That's what I like when we find out people are in the same state and maybe didn't even know it. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know, for us, it's a good, yeah, that's what I thought, John. You know, it's like asking a firefighter if they've been busy lately, but is this the time of year? I'm assuming it probably is, but has it been a fairly quiet twister season for you guys down there this year? Or sure aren't? Yeah, I kind of thought so. You know, we do have them up here, never as destructive as what you guys have. So it's almost not even. It's like when it snows around here. Never. I like it when, yeah. I always remember, if you guys were ever King of the Hill fans, I used to love that show. And I remember, of course, that's in Texas, and they had a snow day there, and it was like maybe a 1/4 inch of wet snow, and there was accidents everywhere, and it was just the funniest thing. And I mean, I hate, you know, you don't want to, you know, laugh too much, but I mean, we literally drive on ice up here 4 months of the year. It gets cold enough that the plows can't scrape it up and they just leave a nice sheet of ice, and it gets cold enough that the ice is sticky. So, you know, everybody lives in a different place. It's like me. Yeah, we got a few rattlesnakes south in Alberta once you cross the Red Deer River, but I'm not much for snakes, or especially even the idea of living where poisonous snakes are. So, you know, you live in a certain area, you get used to a certain way of life. And I suppose a feller could get used to it, but I love you, Charlotte. My daughter's in here tonight supporting me, and I always love having her by. I still can't quite figure out her name, Hyreth Tutorials or something like that. But if you guys see that strange girl in here with all the emojis and stuff, that's her. But yeah, so I don't know. I enjoy the change in weather. I've been kind of that's not weather, that's an emergency. Was that the cold you're talking about, John? Because yeah, it is. We had 2 winters ago, we had a 14-day stretch where the daytime high never got above minus 35. And you might say, is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? It really don't matter at that point. But, you know, if something freezes, you can't get it thawed out at that point. It's disgusting. Like you try to fight it, I don't even know how to explain it, but if you can keep everything thawed and warm when it's that cold, it'll stay thawed. But if you lose the battle for a minute, you're done for a week. It's just, yeah. So when it gets to that point, you just try to hunker down and keep the drafts and everything out of places. You know, you have your heat trace tape on all your pipes. You have everything insulated as hard as you can. And then you try to build up. A lot of people here, if we get, The worst thing we can get is cold without any snow. If we get snow and it insulates the ground and people can pile it up around the outsides of their foundations, their homes, especially the mobile homes, that's the worst. I've got, I'm not sure, 3 or 4 mobile homes that I look after for property management. And it's, I love them, but they're a pain in the ass to keep thawed out when it gets that cold. No matter what they do, even the newest, most insulated ones, you still end up fighting with that. And speaking of property management, I know if you guys ever see Tom on YouTube, he does a lot of commenting on there and over on the Facebook page as well. He's awesome. He runs a handyman business as well. Real busy dude. Anyway, he recommended to me an electric, I guess it's a battery powered lock picker, because I have had some troubles when I go to these bank properties that I have to secure. There's never anybody there. I only go when the houses have been abandoned, but I still have to drill a lock out or pick a lock or whatever. Anyway, I went to this beautiful McMansion the other day that I had to secure, and I thought, oh, I'm going to try they had double doors out onto the porch. They had 2 sets of them. I thought I'll just put a screwdriver in there, pry it open, and it'll pop right open. Well, they'd had those terrace door locks flipped down, so I couldn't get it there. Ended up having to drill it out. I was like a half an hour. So if you guys have any recommendations for, I'm still waiting on mine. I ordered one that Tom recommended. It looks like a little battery-powered skill screwdriver, and it comes with little adapters that you put on that go in depending on the type of lock. So I'm going to run, once it eventually shows up. It's on a slow boat from China right now. When it does, you guys will see it. But I don't know if anybody else has any quicker, easier, neater ways to pick locks. I would love to see it, because I struggle with it. We had one we had to secure in a small town not long ago, and I broke off drill bit after drill bit, and the only one I could go through was this deadbolt, and it was reinforced, and it took way too long to do. I just end up wasting half the time it takes to secure a house to get the locks open. So always looking for suggestions there. But well, I think we have peaked. We've gone past our 45 minutes, guys. I don't know if anybody else had anything they wanted to share this week, or any questions or recommendations. I'm always looking for products to review, video ideas. So if you have any ideas on emergency preparedness, backup power, I'm actually thinking, I've been mulling around in my head, but I almost kind of want to do maybe like a get started into preparedness, water, food, heat, backup power, lighting, things like that, maybe like a 6 or 8 part series. So, I know a lot of us kind of know what we're doing already, but it never hurts to share what we know, because what I find is when I watch videos like that, even if, say it's a top 10 video, so say top 10 water filtration systems or something, I'm going to pull out of all of that. I might learn one little thing, but it's something I'm going to, a chainsaw is a great way to get through. Yes, that is true. A chainsaw works really well. Even my little DeWalt battery powered one would work really well. The only downside is sometimes people will call the cops if you're trying to open a door with a chainsaw. And also then I have to secure a hole in the wall, and then I have to explain to the bank property management company why I cut the hole in the wall. And I don't know. A truck would work too, right? Like hook onto it and pull the door open, or drive through it, or whatever, But but yes, a chainsaw would absolutely be one, or a reciprocating saw. You guys will see later on this month, I got a review video coming up on those Liv, Alice, and Grace Key. I've got a reciprocating saw review video on the red Diablos that you saw, the pruning blades. And, I will say they're okay. They're good. They're good for what they do. They do. Yeah, exactly. Right. They don't replace a chainsaw if you have a chainsaw, but if you don't have a chainsaw, they work great. So anyway, I don't want to spoil that review. Keep getting you guys to tune in and that sort of thing. Tomorrow, Monday morning Money Making Minute will be based on my experiences with the DeWalt warranty process. So I thought I would just share some thoughts on that. You guys will see it. One thing that's not in the video, after I finished filming it, I ended up, so you guys know, Chicken Hawk, you'll be interested in this too, but my 20 volt weed whipper from DeWalt, it ended up just dying one day. And they never sent back any paperwork on what happened. but they sent me a brand new one. The problem is, the brand new one has that shitty little DeWalt head on it again. When I sent it back, it had little grass and stuff on it. I thought I'll just leave my my upgraded still head that I had on there. Well, they never sent it back to me. So now I'm stuck with one of them cheap DeWalt heads, and I got to get another still to replace it. And you're going to see a follow-up video this month as well on my 60 volt DeWalt trimmer, weed trimmer, and everything in that video, you'll see how much I love it, why I love it, that sort of thing. But that head, it hadn't started when I filmed the video, but it ended up, it's starting to disintegrate and fall apart as well. It works really well, but this one does anyway. It doesn't feed twine like the other one did constantly, where it was just spitting twine out 24/7 and I would run through it. So whatever it was, they fixed that part of it. But I think they literally make it out of whatever, if you take plastic and you take wet cardboard, so it's like one step above the fragility of wet cardboard is what they make those heads out of. Everything else on those weed whippers is top notch. They're awesome, but their heads are total complete shit. And they should be ashamed of themselves for it because, like, you guys know, how long have I had that 60 volt trimmer? Maybe 2 months? I've put a few hours on it, but not a ton. But that head is falling apart already. You can literally see through it. I wish I had it here to show you. But so if you're wondering, absolutely worth the investment. But DeWalt, number one, not that they're listening to us tonight, but they need to upgrade them damn heads and get yourself either a Husqvarna or a Still auto load head and upgrade it because it's definitely worth it. The thing's as good as gas. I love it, but the head is a problem. Excuse me. All right, guys. Well, it's been almost an hour. I went longer than I planned tonight. And my wife brought me home some hot chicken wings tonight. And it's almost 9 o'clock. And if I'm going to eat them, I better eat them soon before before I end up going to bed. And, well, you know, us old men and hot wings and that sort of thing late at night, never a good combination. But, all right, I think we will call her quits here. We're 53 minutes on the dot. Guys, you know, I always love you coming by and hanging out with me in the workshop, even if it's in the shop down here. I don't know if you guys, you don't mind the lime green background, but oh, they are good. They're called Burnin' Betty's, and yeah, they're not as hot as some of them, but they are really good. Maybe I'll take a picture and post it for you, Joseph. But yeah, so yeah, you have a good night too, Joseph. I always appreciate you guys coming by. You know I do. This Sunday night live stream, I love it. I always try to have a theme for you guys, and I just love sitting and chatting with you. So anyway, guys, thanks for dropping by. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, and how is it? Have a great week.
Thanks again, guys, for dropping by the weekly workshop. A new edition drops every week, so keep an eye out. And if you're looking for a solution to such problems as I spilled paint on vinyl siding, or I can't get this heavy picture to stay on the wall, stop by toolmantim.co and check out the Today's Tool section, where I share products and tools that have either made me money or saved me money personally or in my long-running year-round handyman business. And if you found value in this content, please take a moment and share it on your social platform of choice. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.